Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of the Texas Private School Podcast. This is episode 17 of the second season. We are now jumping into our off-season episodes. As always, Walker Lott and Ryan Schroeder join me. Walker Lott from actually Fort Worth now, and Ryan Schroeder from Frisco, if that's still correct.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so used to College Station and Stillwater. It's throwing me off a little bit. But I mean, we have actually a lot of information for this episode. There's a lot of things that we've seen. Ryan actually has been at the McKinney Christian Roundup tournament. He's seen a lot of stuff there. I will be at a tournament coming soon. Walker has been putting in an ungodly amount of work for this award show that we are going to get off the ground. But Walker, just give us a quick little peek into what we think that we're going to be seeing in the award show and how that's coming together behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, we're changing up a little bit. We kind of talked about kind of extending it out to give more recognition. You know, we the whole thing is about giving recognition to guys who don't always deserve it or should deserve it, I guess, if that's the biggest thing. And we started it last year where we knew a little. And since we've now actually done a whole, season about this, and finally that season's coming to the end, we're more knowledgeable than we were last year. So we're able to do a little bit more awards wise. I mean, we have a bigger community. And I just feel like it's a time to go a little bit bigger and give more recognition. So, for example, we had offensive player of the year and defensive player of the last year. And that's still what we're doing, but we're also going to add more positions. For offense, we're going to do quarterback, running back, and receiver, i.e. tight end as well. And then for defense, you have, DB, linebacker, and of course, offensive defensive line as well. So we're extending them out a little bit more. We're adding an underclassman of the year, which I think will be pretty cool. Give some of the younger guys some love too. And then I'm trying to remember if I've added anything else. Oh, we will be adding another award, which is going to be called, I think we're still trying to figure out exactly what we want to name it, but kind of like the Heart Award, a guy who, gives it all for his team, is a passionate about the game and does everything he can to win. And I think that's someone, just has the heart of a warrior and a champion and a winner. So I think that's something that we really are going to take pride in, and kind of everything else is always, always great to have. But I think that's one we're going to take pride in, and making sure we get the right guy for that winner. Probably, I said this last time that it would come out a week ago, but hopefully we come out for the next episode. We'll have the semifinalists out for the award show. So yeah, stay tuned.
It is a ridiculous amount of work that is, I guarantee you, getting done. We are all everything will free up a little bit after Christmas, and we will all be able to put everything we have into it and get it done for you. We are all incredibly excited.
Merry Christmas. I mean,
Merry Christmas. I guess this will come out either at or after Christmas time. So I guess that was my fault for not saying it in the intro. Merry Christmas to you and all your families. I know it's an incredibly special time, and we hope you are all spending that safe with your loved ones. Ryan, you were just at the McKinney Christian Roundup tournament. I mean, I'll let you detail that in detail later, but I mean, some very, very quick thoughts and you just being able to go out and cover basketball again.
Yeah, no, I'm back home, and this has been awesome. I love getting to go out and, see some guys play, see some even football names. I've got to see some football guys play basketball a little bit. Now football guys get to go transition to basketball. So it's been good. It was definitely cool getting to go back home, and I've gotten to see a good amount of private school basketball. So I'm excited.
No, for sure. It's definitely been nice to come home and at least hit the reset button, if not for only a little while. We've all been working our absolute butts off during football season. So it's nice to be back in a home environment, be able to reset a little bit. But we're all actually going out and basically doing more work the next coming weeks. So stay tuned for that. We will be all over your schools and putting together this award show. Like I said, I will be at the TJC Wagstaff tournament this coming week to watch Brook Hill and All Saints. I will also be watching Grace Community and Bishop Gorman in basketball. So I'm going to hit all of my bases for Tyler Private School basketball while Ryan takes care of the Metroplex, if that's still the plan.
Yeah, something like that. I'm trying to see as many teams as I can in DFW, if not more than that.
No, I mean, it's coming together. It's a tentative plan, but we're working it out. But with that being said, we are actually going to start this episode by taking a look at the Texas private school football guys rankings for defensive backs. And just a subtle reminder, none of us are Texas private school football guy. If you have any complaints or suggestions or compliments about these rankings, they don't go to us. They go to him. We're two separate entities. People seem to forget that. However, we are going to start with defensive backs. And at number 1, to no surprise, is Daniel Demery from Parish Episcopal. Number 2 is Micah Bell from Kincaid. Number 3 is Christian Wells from Colleyville Covenant. Number 4 is Carter Stoudemire from Plano Prestonwood. Number 5 is Gerald Lacey from Nolan Catholic. And rounding out number 5 is Javont Williams from Fort Worth All Saints. So, Walker, there's a lot of firepower, especially in the top 2 of this list. Both Demery and Bell are offered by numerous Power 5 schools. I mean, what do you think of these top 5 names? And is there anything that surprises you with who is listed here?
I mean, I don't think so. I think everyone pretty much got it correct. I think those are the top guys. Learning about these guys, we've known for a very long time how good Demery and Micah Bell are. I mean, you could really say like 1A, 1B. I think they're really good players. And you know what? That's why Power 5s are all around the country going after these guys. It's going to be intriguing to see how they are going to end up and where they're going to end up. Cause I don't know. It's very intriguing because I was at the A&M camp when Micah Bell ran in the 4.3s. Yeah, true track speed. Yeah, he ran a 4.38 or something like that. It was very, very impressive in front of all the A&M coaches. So I was like, all right, I remember like having to ask around and I was like, is this kid actually is that for real? And they're like, yeah. But I mean, and then Daniel Demery, I mean, he's a true leader, a captain. His football IQ is insane. That's why he's had I think 5-6 interceptions on this season this year. I mean, that's everything you want in that defensive leader in the back, the secondary for your defense. And then Christian Wells, Mr. Do-It-All for that Covenant team, very underrated. I love him. I think he's a great player. And then looking into this Carter Stoudemire kid, very impressive this season for him. I mean, he's 6'1" corner, got offered by SEC, Mississippi State, and others. I mean, it's very, very impressive. It's going to be interesting to see how his recruitment goes along for the next year.
Yeah, no, there's a ton of good players in this list. By the way, these are 23 defensive backs. They're juniors now. They'll be seniors next semester. Or next year. I don't think I mentioned that off the top. But this is the class of 23. Ryan, your thoughts on this incredibly star-studded list of defensive backs?
Yeah, no, I mean, I can tell you right now, I've only really seen 2 of these guys play in person. I saw Micah play in person, and I can tell you right now, Micah deserves exactly where he is right now. I know Daniel Demery is a very, very, very good player, but I'm telling you right now, Michael Bell, if he's not doing it on offense, he's doing it on defense. I mean, he can go out for a ball. He has a ton I think he got 2 interceptions in the game that I was at, the state championship game or something like that. So, I know he's good. And then Gerald Lacey is a stud. Gerald Lacey locked down one of the number 1 wide receivers at Prestonwood when I went to their game. So I had no doubt that those guys are top 5 worthy. And Carter Stoudemire, I mean, I would love to and make it note that, Jackson State's a great offer too. I mean, you said Mississippi State, SEC, but Jackson State's a very good offer now. I mean, go play for Dion and all that, right?
Play with Travis Hunter.
Yeah, Travis Hunter, right?
Oh, dog. That's a dog.
Dog.
Yeah, but there you go. No, I mean, that's a good offer. I'm telling you right now, these guys have a lot of good offers. I mean, if you're looking at the screen, you could see that the 1 and 2 guys have offers flooding around them, but Christian Wells deserves some love too. I'm waiting to see when his offers come in this summer.
Yeah, for sure. I also need to get out and watch Javont Williams. I haven't gotten a chance to watch All Saints yet in person. Somehow that slipped our schedule this year, but next year for sure. I'm definitely looking forward to watching him and seeing what he can do in the defensive secondary.
Well, the thing about it is I think he's the one that had to go up and play quarterback this year when Parker Clark went down.
That's right.
So you would have seen him on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah. And I will give him credit. he could throw the ball. I mean, he was no slouch of a quarterback. So very, very impressive by his part. But yeah, I think whoever takes over, unless they keep him there next year, you put him back to where he's usually at, he'll be a dog there next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you call an athlete. That's what you call an athlete, right?
Yeah,
there.
no kidding. You gotta have a pretty high football IQ to switch from DP to quarterback on a dime like that. But
Hey,
it's incredible.
Two hardest positions in football, people would argue.
You're not wrong. Well, I played defensive back, so I'm sure as heck not going to argue you there. But I mean, yeah, I mean, that was the at least the top 5 defensive backs from the Texas Private School Football Guys rankings. And now we transition to the top 5 wide receivers. Number 1 ranked is Chris Powell-Freeman from Fort Worth All Saints. Number 2 is Jacob Trimble from Fort Worth Christian. Number 3 is Jalen Gardner from San Antonio TMI. Number 4, Christian Wells making his case for another side of the ball at number 4 from Colleyville Covenant. And number 5 is Joseph Moreland from Austin St. Michael's. Walker, I'll turn to you again. This is a kind of an underrated group in the class of 23. As you see from those top 5 guys, only Chris Powell-Freeman has offers and some offers from some pretty daggum good schools. Your thoughts on the top 5 from the class of 23 receivers in private school?
They got some dogs in here, man. They really do. And like, we mentioned that, but like some of those, hey, Braylon Gardani, Brian Domino's still on that list. And, we can go all down the list, but Caleb Mathis from Grace Prep is really good. Coco Ashik from Prestonwood, that's Ryan's guy. Jackson Mobley, that was not bad. Vincent Doucette. I don't want to go all down the list, but like there's some dogs in here down the line all the way. But yeah, let's talk about these guys. The fact that like Jaden Burnett and Ricky Gonzalez are 6 and 7, and for probably any other year would be a little bit higher, just shows how good this 2023 wide receiver class is. I've seen Powell-Freeman and I've seen Moreland play. Okay, let's think about it as this, right? Because they're all different types of receivers, right? Christian Wells, Powell-Freeman, other stuff. They're more, they're slot guys, shorter, quicker, faster. Joe Moreland is that guy on the outside, go up and get it, vertical threat. And I think that's a different thing about him, which I think is really, really impressive about him. I know he says it's 6'2". I think he's 6'3". He's a big boy. And I think he's underrated. Out of all those guys, I think he's the most underrated of them. Powell-Freeman is quick, man. You can see why he has the offers he was when I watched him against San Antonio Central Catholic. He's a dog, man. And I know, Ryan, you're going to talk about Trimble because, I haven't seen him play, but and you have to give him credit. Ricky Gonzalez had 1,000 yards on the year. And also Jaden Burnett, I think I almost had 700 at Nolan. And in an offense that had a 1,400-yard rusher in Kawan Lacey. So it's very, very impressive. All those guys are really, really good. I mean, rankings-wise, I haven't seen Christian play, and he played quarterback this year, so I don't want to tell him anything about that. And I don't know anything about Jalen Gardner, and I would have to look into him more. But I'm a big, big fan of Joe Moreland. I put me down for Joe Moreland. Joe Moreland hype is real. And hey,
I saw him in person. That dude's good. I even told him after the game that he is the real deal. So trust me, at least 2/3 of this podcast are on the Joe Moreland train. Let that be known.
But yeah, Jaden Burnett, I think he's a really, really good receiver. I really do think so too. Xander Romero, these are some dudes on this thing, man. We got a really stacked 23 receiving year. So
no, I agree. And you know what? I'm going to say this. I don't understand how Domino isn't higher here. You know how many yards Domino had this season? 1,126. Wow. He had 17 touchdowns as well. I know that this isn't stats. That stats are pretty much for all district, all state. And this is basically on how good of receivers he thinks they are. But I've seen Domino in person. the dude's good. Like, he's really good. And I know I've raved and raved and raved about the Fort Bend receiving core, and people are going to call me biased, but I really do think that Domino is without question a top 5 receiver in this class. I'll go to my grave saying that. But Ryan, I mean, we just talked about, also I said that Chris Palfremian was the only guy in the top 5 that had an offer. That is incorrect. Jalen Gardner has an offer from UTSA, meet themselves. Ryan, your thoughts on the top 5? I had to steal that from Walker real quick.
Me.
Jacob Trimble is who I was definitely going to talk about. And you talking about Joe Moreland being a guy that, you throw it up to him because yes, Palfremian and Wells are both slot guys. I know you said that, and I agree with you. Even though Wells seems to play every position on the field, I guess he also plays slot receiver. Athlete is what we just need to put him under. Athlete. We can't keep giving him spots on every list, is what I'm trying to say. But Trimble is the same as Moreland. I mean, literally, they would throw deep routes to him, and he is so quick that he could just go there. But he's also can body kids too. Like he's only 5'11", but it almost feels like his vertical is good enough on those deep routes to, to jump over a guy and go up and get it. But what I have to say fully, just because I saw him play Legacy, is it almost seemed like, they would just step back in the pocket. And then by the time that, he'd been sitting in the pocket for not only 2-3 seconds, Trimble was already, 40 yards down the field. And they're like, oh, well, we'll just throw it that way now. But Trimble is insanely quick, and he's a very good receiver, and his receiving yards would tell you that like immediately. Another guy I saw was Jaden Burnett. I saw Jaden Burnett play. I think Jaden Burnett is very good. I had a conversation with him and talked to him about how good of a receiver he was. The kid he's a respectable kid too. I mean, I'm a big fan of Jaden Burnett. I want to see Chris Palfremian. That is going to be something that I need to see. I want to see a forward All Saints game next year. And then Derek Eusebio. I don't know how to say his name. I didn't actually get to see him play when he was with Prestonwood. I don't know if he was playing or not. I don't think so, because Coco got all of the receiving yards that game. So I don't even know if he was playing. If he was locked up because he wasn't getting a lot of receptions. So credit the Nolan defense for that, or he wasn't playing. So, but I would be excited to see how he does, against a regular defense, I'd say. But yeah, no, this is such a stacked list, y'all. I mean, if there's any list that's going to be stacked for class 2023, go check out the wide receiver one, because this is legit.
No, there is some serious talent, as there always is. And people neglect looking at TAPPS and SPC for recruiting, and I think that greatly hurts a lot of college programs. I do think and I'll go to my grave saying, there is so much more talent than people understand in private school, and that's what we're here for, get everyone's name out there. But that was the top 5 class of 23 defensive backs and wide receivers. We will continue to analyze the rankings as they come out from Texas Private School Football Guy. A big thank you to him for doing that. That's a huge deal, I know, for all these kids whenever they come out. And it's very good to get these kids' names out there, which is what we all try to do. But transitioning, we are now going to talk about all district and all state lists as they've just come out. We're basically just going to analyze all state and say our thoughts on what went on there, as there always seems to be at least a little bit of controversy. I don't know if there's been a single all-state list that has gone off without a hitch. But in terms of Division I, I will say what I love. I love River Rodriguez and Silas Gomez getting a co-first team all-state athlete. I think just the word athlete is a perfect description of both River Rodriguez and Silas Gomez, as is the word tough. Both of those kids are incredibly tough. And I think they both deserved to be first team all-state, especially if it's under athlete. Something going off of Central Catholic, something that kind of surprised me, Ben Rios was not listed as first team all-state. I mean, I watched him play. I mean, that really surprises me. I need to look. I'm 99% sure. Yeah, DeAndre Marshall, his counterpart, got first team all-state. Ben Rios not getting first team all-state kind of surprises me. I think he got second team, but that was something that I thought was interesting there. And then Sawyer Anderson making second team all-state as a freshman, I think is huge. I mean, we've always talked about how talented that kid is. I see Walker smiling now. He's a great kid. I mean, just seeing the young buck rise this quickly is very impressive. And obviously at at running back, Andrew Paul gets basically a unanimous first team All-State. But I just said like a ridiculous amount of words. Walker, I'm gonna hand it off to you now. What really caught your eye from Division I All-State lists?
Yeah, if we're talking first about snubs, I don't know who you take off that first team All-State offensive line, but the fact that no Parish offensive linemen are not on there, that's shocking to me. I mean, they had a rusher in Andrew Paul. And yes, Andrew Paul is probably one of the best backs to come out of private school in a very long time. And so sometimes you don't need offensive line. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't really know who you take off being granted, because I think all of those guys, you're talking about a guy, Caden Kittler, who's going to UCF, Marshall, UTSA, Joshua Cobb, who's been a staple in offensive lineman and top state guys for the past couple of years. Ty Short is 6'7", 300 pounds out of Antonian, who's been a name, and he'll go somewhere D1 for sure. And then Jace Lowe, I think, is a very, solid guy over there at All Saints. It's hard to take one of those guys down and put them up, but you have to put in a Hayden Weber or a one of the other guys from Parish for sure up there in the top. The fact that, Trace Norfleet, I believe, was the guy who won it last year or was first team All-State last year, isn't getting it this year. It's insane. And also have to think about this, right? If they're like, oh, well, we didn't put Ben Rios there because you already had Marshall there. They put both Brockenmeyers there last year from All Saints. So you can put them both on there. Granted, both of them went to Alabama, so it's a different storyline, but that's not the same. You get what I mean. But Kawan Lacey making first team All-State as a sophomore, very, very impressive. And I wish I saw Braden Flowers, the tight end. I wish I saw him play because he's really
good. He's good, dude. He's good.
Well, that's all you need to hear then. I think everything else is like pretty good. I mean, I would have to look at it more in depth, but
here, I'm gonna tell you something right now. The guy we just raved about being the number one wide receiver in the class of 23. Yeah, he's ranked 8th. He's the second team All-State, and he's the 4th ranked second team All-State wide receiver, Chris Balfreeman.
Yeah,
There you have it.
That's 8th, by the way. And there are other in his grade. There are other people above him that are in his grade. They have Ricky Gonzalez above him. They have Jackson Mobley. And keep in mind, these guys are not like, when we say snubs, we're just saying the fact that these guys were just a little like Ricky Gonzalez and Jackson Mobley still deserve to be in the spot that they are. Don't get me wrong. However, I think Kyle Freeman deserves to jump them in different aspects just because of the fact that, like, if he's really all that, then, and he really has all those offers. I mean, this kid can't be terrible. I mean, he has offers from Power 5 schools like that, he has to be at least an All-State, a first team All-State receiver 1 through 4.
I agree in some extent, because I think a lot of it is on stats and how impactful they are. The guy who led that offense for All Saints was the running back for sure. He ran that offense for them. So it was through them. And the fact that they had to lose their starting quarterback, and then also before the season, you thought it was maybe Robert Sanders, or you thought it was Haas Hingie, and then Hingie goes to Alito, and then Robert stays on the defensive side of the ball, and then you have Parker. So it was just a lot of stuff. So it was a lot of, I think he only had like 600 yards or like 700 yards receiving, where Ricky Gonzalez had almost 1,100. Blake Youngblood had around 1,000. Stafford, I think, had around 1,000. I think Price had like 1,300. So, like, he had a good year, Pal Freeman, but it wasn't, I think, the other guys on that list. But you can make it like, I can't even say Jackson Deason, I think, had like almost 900 yards receiving. So, I mean, that is a very intriguing thing, but
it's a wormhole we could spend hours going down trying to compare this stat to this stat and trying to piece it together like it's the Matrix. But it's just, it proves how difficult it is really to compile these lists. And just, I mean, things are going to get left off. That's a fact. There are human people making this list, and people are going to make mistakes. However, I don't know if there's too much that's really egregious this year, but I'm going to turn my attention to defense. No surprise. Caleb James and Curly Thomas go 1 and 2 for first team All-State defensive linemen. I mean, that duo for Nolan has been good for a long time. Demery, is the first slot and first team All-State for the secondary. No surprise there. I'm scrolling even more. Most of this seems in order, unless any of you guys have any objections to the defense. I glanced earlier, nothing really stood out at me. So what do y'all think, Ryan? Or Ryan, you first. Is there anything you have any thoughts on defensively?
I don't say anything crazy on this. I mean, all the guys that I know off the top of my head are where they deserve to be. I mean, you have all the linemen right here, which I don't. Does the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mean anything? I don't know if that means it is ranking them, right?
It is ranking them, but when you do all state, like if you're first team all district and your second team all district, right, for going to state, all the first team all state guys in your position have to go out first before second team all district makes it. So it's some of the guys like for that D1 Division 1 and TAPPS or TAPPS D1 in the North, there might be a little more talent there that are, second team all district that won't make all state higher than you think, just because of how many guys are good, if that makes sense.
Hey, keep that in mind. Every last one of those guys that is a defensive lineman, they're all North players. Every last one of them is a Northern guy. Isn't that crazy? All those linemen are built Northern. So there you go. You're right. That's how it is. But I mean, all those guys are Northern. All those guys are District 1.
Yeah. Another one I saw, Cooper Malin, the other linebacker for Parrish, had I want to make sure I say this correctly because I have it available. He had almost 153 tackles this year and made second team all state. That's kind of interesting to me. Maybe a little bit of a snub there. But I will say all the linebackers on first team all state is very, very, very good and had all of them had, I think, over 110 tackles. So it's not like it's just so far down, but I just saw that. I was intrigued, but I think everything
defense looks good in my opinion. I like the defense. So I like the defense more than the offense in Division 1.
I agree. There's a lot less to gripe at, but that actually transitions us into Division 2. So we see, let me zoom in. We see your boy Antoine Polk gets the first slot for All-State defensive back, and Jaleel Brown goes second. Eli Smith goes third. They're all All-State, and Samuel Blue. I love this running back class. There's a bunch of tough SOBs. I mean, between Polk, Jaleel Brown, and Eli, and those are three dogs. So I'm really, really happy to see all three of them get first team All-State. See, this is what I had issue with. Domino for receivers. Joseph Moreland and Domino get 3 and 4. Obviously, Domino, I believe, from Fort Bend Christian's first team All-State. I don't know how Marcus Creighton isn't first team All-State. I mean, I think he was the best receiver on that Fort Bend team, and he's got a teammate that jumps him. I mean, Domino, I think, deserves to be there. I don't know how Creighton is, but also it's such a stacked class. You have Trimble, Long, Moreland, and Domino taking up those 4 slots. So yet again, it's kind of a thing of like, who do you take out to put him in? But man, it is hard. It would be hard for me to justify any way of leaving him off of there. Your boy Tyson Flowers goes first team All-State. There's a lot of Eagles popping up here. A lot more Eagles than Cougars, which I notice there's not a single Cougar on this list, but we'll glide past that.
No.
Trust me, I'm used to it. It's something I've grown used to. But let's see. Oh yes, and another big talking point that I'll actually turn off to y'all. Drew Dickey gets first team All-State over Brady Dever. Now, I don't see. I know Dever stats. We don't have Dickey's stats on hand. Just literally gut reaction. I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but what do you think about that? Because these are 2 elite level quarterbacks, and there's going to be a lot of talking over who should have been first team All-State here. Walker, I'll put you on the spot here first. What do you think?
Wow. Okay. Let's think about this rationally. Okay, because my gut reaction, right, is how do you put Dever on second team All-State for how good of a year he had, right? But you also have to think about, I'm going to kind of play devil's advocate, right? Drew Dickey went 10-0 in the regular season, blew out basically everyone, probably didn't have to play until half or the third quarter most games.
True.
And probably put up a stat line out the wazoo this year, and then he goes in the playoffs and lose second round, I believe.
Yes.
It's like, it's intriguing because, I would love to see the stats. So anyone that listens from Austin regions, please hit us up with the stats from y'all season. But that is a very intriguing talking point. You put the Vandy commit, the SEC commit above Dever. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I don't really know his stats, so you can't back
I
it
mean,
up.
Denver threw for 4,000 yards and 60 touchdowns with only 4 interceptions. But granted, I need Dickey stats in front of me to even make a comparison. Plus, you bring up a good point of Dickey going out at half most games. Ryan, go.
Yeah, no, yes, he does go out at half. Yeah, if you're trying to finish the statement, I fully agree with you. I'm not saying that in general. I'm just saying I think all three of these quarterbacks are insanely good. I mean, Trevor Andrews is an incredible quarterback as well. And he's the honorable mention one, right? Like, all three of these quarterbacks are really, really, really good. And think about that. Chase Cross is not on this list. And Chase Cross was a good quarterback as well.
Carson Krueger as well, or any of the Austin Bramlett guys too. I mean, it's different. It's very intriguing.
Jack Esparza is also someone that I liked a lot from St. Michael's. He let me see. I think he was second.
Yeah, honorable mention, All State. Wow.
Did he really?
Yeah,
Makata.
I'm on the wrong Esparza. It's always. Let me see. Where did
I need to know how good that offense for Second Baptist was, because I have no info on it. Because I think Grayson Kim has been that guy who's been that dude for that receiving position for so long, but I don't know how good he was this year. Makata is a dog, we know that, and even Davis Anderson caused SES some trouble when we played him. So both are talented guys, but Jack Esparza and Joel Hutchin had over 1,000 yards receiving and was third team honorable mention All State.
Yeah, Gabriel Grubbs is honorable mention right here as well.
On offense? Gabriel Grubbs.
I get that, but
offense makes sense because he's primarily a defensive player.
Oh yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking.
I just
looked at defense. I looked at defense, then I scrolled up to offense. But yeah,
but that's actually kind of a good transition. We should look at defense now, so we don't get too bogged up. Let's see. So that's second team. So first team. Let's see. Anything pop out at me here?
Jackson Berry being the fifth linebacker.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
There's Gabriel Grubbs, number 2 slot on second. Yeah. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, that looks a little bit better.
Dude, that's second team. That's secondary all state list. Tyson Flowers, Gabe Grubbs, Jay Wilburn, Everett Skiller, and William Nettles. That is a good class of secondary players. That's what stands out.
That's insane. That's insane list right there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see anything else. We're going on the second team. Max Makeda at second team secondary.
Who do you jump him?
Yeah,
you can't ask me that because I'm not putting someone down on live air. But yeah, that's always the question you have to ask is who jumps him. Also, Blaine Baird for Fort Bend being second team secondary, that is tough because he is good. I watched him live. You know what? I'm not gonna say I do have a person in mind that I definitely think that Blaine Baird jumps, but I don't slander people on this podcast. I'm a nice person, but I think Blaine Baird deserves to be first team All-State secondary.
Just the guys that make both lists is just so incredible to me. Zeke Long made both lists. Gabriel Grubbs made both lists. I mean, guys like that are doing this in D2, like that's special.
Can I I want to shout out the punter, Sam Stone from St. Michael's. Is a dog, bro.
He is.
He's a dog, bro. I think it's hilarious that Austin St. Michael's and Austin Regis both have a Stone kicker. I think that's elite. I don't know if they're brothers. I don't think so, but like the fact that just like is a coincidence is hilarious.
You think parents are sending their kicking sons to opposite schools in Austin to go up against each other?
If one has one job, the other one, you have to give the person like. If one's a class difference, like, you got to give one to one school and the other one to the other. But
dude, at the St. Michael's Fort Bend game, Sam, there was a bad snap to Sam Stone on a punt. It went way over his head. He snags it Odell with one hand, brings it back down, cool, calm, and collected, and just punts the sucker like 50 yards. It was probably the single greatest punt I've ever seen in my life. I loved it. But we'll end Division 2.
I want to say this. I want to say two things. Sorry. I just saw something. Derek Felder is honorable mention All State, and I think he had 9 interceptions on the season. I don't know about that. And the fifth spot too. I want to make sure about that because that's what I think Max Prep says. I think he had like 9, but also,
so he barely snuck in all state.
Yeah,
Tough.
I guess, TCA didn't have a great postseason, so I get that, but it's intriguing to say the least.
I have to shout out the guys that went to my high school that I actually don't even know these guys. So that's pretty sad. But we had 3 Frisco legacy players make.
You did?
Yeah, we had 3. We have 3 on here. We have I'm just gonna shout them out. Keegan Wessler, and we have Anderson Abink, and then Wesley Norris. That's one of my best friends from high school's brother. So yeah, hey, where are the Grace players at?
I was about to say, first of all, it's a low blow and I don't appreciate it. Second of all, I can't believe there's not a I'm done. We've been through so many dark years recently. I gotta have light at the end of the tunnel soon. However, on that now depressing note, we will end Division 2 and move on to Division 3. I'm just going to talk from the quick notes I had. Jalen Talton was second team all district, which I thought was really, really surprising for a kid that I thought was one of the breakout stars in that division. Braxton Townsend got first team all state from Lubbock Christian. Let's see. Tyler Prazak being honorable mention quarterback surprised me a little bit. I think he had a lot of hype going into the season. I haven't checked his stats, but Legacy Prep had a tough year, but I think he was someone when I saw him that I think had collegiate potential. He's got a great frame, and his name stood out to me on that list. Etta and Christian Wells both go first team defense for Covenant. I mean, those are 2 guys that go hand in hand with that program that we talk about all the time. Not surprising at all to see them on that list. I need to see. Yeah, Marcus Ramon Edwards was first team all state. Obviously, he was actually in the second slot behind Cody Andrews from Cypress Christian, who we saw both of them play at the state game. But Walker, Division 3, I looked through it outside of Talton. Actually, talk about, what do you think about Talton getting second team all state behind Braxton Townsend?
I would love to. I need to see Braxton's his stats on the year because I know he went off this year, so give him credit. So, and I think Lubbock went farther in the playoffs, so you can say that, and you can do those routes. But Talton's a dog, so don't get it twisted. I want to talk about Marcus Jimenez Cedillo, one of my favorite guys in Division 3, the wide receiver, 6'3", 200 pounds or around, 6'3" something from Holy Cross, is a dog. And I will say it and say it and say it. And I love that receiver. And he made second team all state, which is ridiculous. I don't know who you put above him, or I don't know who you drop or anything like that, but I think he's a really good player. Caden Palladini has been a dog there for Pentigo for years, and getting second team all state for athlete is really, really good for him. And, Adam Atwell got second team all state for punter or kicker. Sorry. And he plays quarterback for there. And we don't give them enough love for how good they have it, like how good they are every single year. And he's one of those guys who's led that team for the past couple of years, and you have to give him credit there. He's not probably a better quarterback than Prazak or, Talton or Townsend, but he is a good player, and he's led that team for some big time wins over the couple of years to make, the semifinals for a while. So you have to give him credit, but yeah, everything kind of makes sense for D3, and that's all I can say right now.
Ryan, anything stand out to you here from Division 3?
I'm sorry. I just think it's so cool how guys can get Christian Wells, literally athlete on honorable mention. Bam, number 1 player on secondary of defense for first team all state. People don't realize that guys playing 2 sides of the ball and they're able to make 2 all-state lists. You are an insane athlete at that point. I would like to make that very clear. But yeah, no, great. I think this is probably the best looking list so far, honestly. I don't know enough about some of these guys to argue whether some guys should be over others, but I mean, I don't really have a problem. The funny thing is I look at all these Grace Prep names and I recognize all of them. They all play basketball too. Every last one of these guys plays basketball. They're Jalen Talton, their quarterback, plays basketball. Caden Lehu, their receiver, plays basketball. They all play basketball.
Wesley Barnes deserves to be first team All-State based on name alone. And also scrolling through here, Tyler schools are yet again down horrendous. In D3, not a single, by what I'm looking at, not a single Bishop Gorman kid made the list, and one All Saints punter made honorable mention All State. Sweet. Look, shout out Ethan Fainus. I mean, you are the only Tyler athlete to make a Division III All State list. You deserve your flowers. If I see you at the Wagstaff tournament, I will say what's up. Listen, man, we're entering the dark. There was a time long ago that East Texas was on the map in private school, and that time is kind of passing us by, but hopefully we come back. But that is a story for another time. I will do a full in-depth feature episode on the rise and fall of Tyler at some point.
A 30 for 30.
It will be a 30 for 30. It'll be beautiful when I make it. But now we transition to Division 4. Like I said, like Walker, you know what, Walker, take it away. Go compliment Levi for all of us.
Levi Hancock. Everyone give him a round of applause. Everyone.
Yeah, Levi Hancock. That's a
great dog. What a dog. Great. And you know what? Also, give a shout out to the Shiner St. Paul boys. Zach Johnson 1, Noah Bodeker 2.
Noah Bodeker. What a yeah, Zach Johnson. Yeah, that's good.
Those guys are dogs. And you know, even the running back for Munster Sacred Heart, I'm not going to pronounce his last name, but the number 3 position, very good player as well. Did everything for his team. And, you know, DJ Matthews, receiver wise, Hayden Tillery wise, all really good players. Burton is really good as well. I think those are really good players. Looking else.
By the way, that back's name is Seth Swarzinski, I think. Maybe I didn't butcher it.
That's actually, I agree.
You ready for this? Ready for this math right here for you? Oh, yeah. First team All-State running backs and state champions, Zach Johnson and Noah Bodeker, both got first team All-State in their respective defensive categories.
I was going to say that is by what I remember, Zach Johnson at linebacker and Bodeker at secondary, right?
Yes, they both got number 1. So keep in mind, they were 1 and 2 in running backs, and then they both just got 1 and 1 in linebackers and secondary. First team. These guys are the best athletes in Division 4, without a doubt.
We have another Bodeker on the rise too. Sophomore Nate Bodeker is a second team All-State linebacker.
Yes.
You're joking.
Nope. That is awesome. Nope.
How did I not notice that?
Number 1. He's number 1 linebacker.
Well, listen, hang on. There might not be any relation there. That could be completely coincidental.
That's a good point.
Yeah. They're
I'm sure there's a lot
multiple,
of I'm sure there's a lot of Bodekers in Shiner, Texas, attending St. Paul.
Can we also give a shout out to the town of Shiner, Texas, winning state in TAPPS and also in UIL.
Shiner, yes. You know, Zach Johnson actually he reached out and he goes, yeah, well, Shiner is also in the state championship for UIL too. And I'm like, I told y'all at the state championships, I'm like, I'm pretty sure everybody in the city of Shiner came to the TAPPS championship, and then they all came 2 weeks later to the UIL championship. Everyone just loves everyone in that town.
If they got the Brooks brothers from Shiner and brought them over to St. Paul, golly gee.
Dude, if Douglas Brooks played for Shiner St. Paul, if they had the 1-2 of him and Zach Johnson, oh my gosh,
that would be unstoppable. You couldn't stop that.
Disgusting. But I mean, outside of that, I mean, everything seems to pretty much make sense here. I mean, you all agree?
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah, I'd say so.
We're gonna have some D4 parents be like, "Oh no, this didn't make sense," and you know, I understand that, but it's hard to know every single division in this for TAPPS.
Exactly. But with the conclusion of that actually closes out our analysis of the all-state list. And now we roll out the red carpet for a segment that we return for the first time in roughly a year, the Ryan Schroeder basketball extravaganza. Ryan, I just rolling out the red carpet. Take it away. I'll take a step back.
Yeah, so I know we did. I'm pretty sure I went a little rundown in the last episode. I think I gave us a really short rundown in the last episode. So I'm just gonna say right now, I went to the roundup over in McKinney. I literally just got back probably 15 minutes before I got out of the car and walked upstairs and we're doing the podcast. If that gives you any idea. So yes, and it was great. It was a great tournament. Literally, it had only 7 teams in it after some teams backed out, but the matchup to see was McKinney versus Grace Prep, because McKinney is in my mind who I thought, like, I didn't know a lot about them until I saw them a couple weeks ago. And they're a good team. They're a very, very, very good team. And I want to make sure I give a credit to every single guy that deserves credit on that team. So, the really good playmakers on the McKinney team are Bobby McWard, who has been a player for, this man has been putting up threes. He shot today in the 3-point contest. He won the 3-point contest, by the way. And the max amount of points you could have in the 3-point contest. So you shot five different sections around the hoop, and then you got 1 point for everyone you make, and then you got 3 points if you made like the special shot, whatever. So I'm pretty sure that he scored 17, 22, and 23, and I think he only made like that 3-point shot once for like the bonus shot. So he's making 20 out of 25 threes most of the time, which is just like, that's insane to do that at a high school level. But yeah, and then him and then his boy who plays right alongside him, is one of the best I'd say in TAPPS. His name's Josh Thrower. Josh Thrower put up numbers this weekend. He finished with in the championship game, he finished with 19 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, 1 block. Bobby finished with 18 points, 4 made threes, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. And the guys went off there. They're great. And then the guys that all won, then Jalen Wheeler was another guy that got that and got the all tournament honors. All these guys are great. And I think that was a great understanding for how I could just learn how good this McKinney team is. Grace Prep on a 4A scale, though, was a great team. I got to see them play throughout this tournament, but it was good to see how these guys play together. Some guys to keep in mind are Johnny Jameson. Johnny Jameson's a guy. He's new this year, a very, very good player. He almost plays like a center, but he can shoot kind of position. It's almost like a Carl Anthony Towns, but like, almost like a little bit more agility with that. And then Isaiah Thompson, a super underrated player, was a stud. He was making threes like nobody's business and totally deserved that all tournament team spot. Another guy that I have to give credit to, if I can find where it is on here. What's called Justin McNelkin is an absolute great player. He is another guy on that Grace Prep team. But the other guys in this tournament, for with All Saints and all them, I don't really know a lot about all of them, but it was a great tournament. About a week ago, I got to go down to St. Mark's versus Bishop Lynch, and that was such a great game. I'm really glad I got to go down there. It was a last second thing, and I just showed up, and I was like, you know what? I want to see St. Mark's. I want to see Bishop Lynch. I was like, what all would it take for me just to get my butt down there and just see these games? And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm really glad I did, because it was really enjoyable getting to see these guys play. Bishop Lynch is just an outstanding team. Bishop Lynch, these guys are dogs. And the number one guy that I want to give credit to is Logan Epps. Logan Epps is just an absolute playmaker. He had 16 points, 3 assists, and 3 blocks in the game that I saw against a really talented St. Mark's team. And he basically is the leader of this offense. The coach puts the ball in his hands at all time. Absolute great player. Sean Cowley is another guy on that team that's great. He had 12 points that night. Braxton Teal was another good guy. He had 9 points and 5 assists. Definitely a good facilitator on that offense. And then the opposite end of the floor, for St. Mark's, SVC, we're going here. Corvin Opera played amazing. He had 17, and then his boy, Tate Lakazowski, he's a really, really tall, almost like, I'm gonna say 6'7", 6'8". I'm gonna see what his bio says. It says he's 6'8" in his bio, but super tall, super lengthy, can shoot the ball. And I actually said next Kristaps Porzingis, because he just has that build straight up. So 12 points for him. Played absolutely incredible. And I was able to get a little interview with the coach after the game. Very, very good. Very, very good game in general. I'll say the St. Mark's student section goes crazy is what I'll say. That was definitely something fun to see. But I want to make sure I get to go see more games. I'm looking back at it. December 6th, I went to go see, McKinney Christian played the first time, and Bobby had 20-3. Zeke, Zeke Long had 19 points and 4 assists when I went to go see him on December 6th. So Zeke Long's another great team for McKinney. But yeah, a lot of great players that I've gotten to see so far, but that's not the end of it. I want to make sure that I give recognition to everybody that has been playing so far. I want to see more teams. A stat that I know off the top of my head, Basianakis out in played out in Las Vegas this weekend. They played in the Tarka, whatever you call it, out in Nevada. And he scored 39 points on like a national schedule stage. So big shout out to him. That forward team is looking to go back to the 5A state championship where they would see Woodlands again. I've heard that Austin Manini has been putting it up again in Woodlands. He's been doing very well out there. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out of the North in 5A. Will it be a McKinney Christian with all these dogs here that I just saw win this tournament, or will it be a Fort Worth Christian who's played a lot of national teams and UIL teams? I mean, literally, they have a 7-13 record right now, but you wouldn't. No, that doesn't mean anything. Brook Hill has a 14-2 record, and I'm telling you right now, I think Fort Worth could kill Brook Hill. It's just because teams play different schedules, and Fort Worth has just decided we're going to play an entirely national schedule. So leadership prep, I don't know how to describe them. They're like TCal. So if we're going to give some TCal love here, I'll give it.
Oh, y'all don't know nothing about TCal. That's my domain. That's homeschools that I watch. When I watch my friends at ETCA, I know TCal.
I'll just say Michael Roberts. Michael Roberts is a very great player. He was a 6'6" man who's absolutely getting buckets in that tournament, and he actually made the all-tournament team as well. So if you go on, you know what? I'm gonna make it known. We're about to do something crazy here. We're about to do something crazy. Y'all ready for this? All right.
I'm ready.
So we are obviously not the what's called Texas private school football guy, right? We're not a Texas private school football guy. But I'm going to tell everybody right now, if you didn't already know, I am the Texas private school basketball guy.
Oh my gosh, are you?
Dude,
yeah, I know.
Sure we can
it's
reveal
crazy.
this on a YouTube channel? I thought we're keeping this under wraps.
Yeah, I know. Kind of crazy that I'm it, but I'm pretty sure people can figure that out when they go to the games and they see me take their picture and then it pops up online. But if you didn't know that already, that's who I am. So now with me saying that, it's at Texas private. If it's at Zach TX private BB guy on Twitter. But if you go there, my pin tweet gives out my preseason picks for state champions. And I said 6A was going to be John Paul II. I said 5A was going to be Woodlands. I said 4A was going to be Grace Prep. And I said Green Hill is going to be SBC. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not really growing away from any of those, honestly. I think Woodlands would be the only one where I'm skeptical about MCA now, McKinney Christian. But the rest of these, I think I'm still sticking with it. I think JP2, Grace Prep, and Green Hill are still pretty much favorites to win. So, yeah, I've seen St. Mark's play and I've seen Bishop Lynch play, but I still think John Paul II and Green Hill are just going to overpower them. So, yeah, that's my little spiel. And a little bit of information about if you wanted to go check out more, you can look at all this stuff on the Texas Private School Basketball Guy. I literally posted more than I think I needed to this weekend, but you're welcome to go check it out if you are a basketball person.
No, I mean, that's about as in-depth of a early season review as you're going to find pretty much anywhere on TAPPS basketball. I mean, shout out to you, Ryan. I mean, the past couple of weeks, you've really been putting in the work, making the rounds, watching all the tournaments. I mean, not a lot of people do that. So I will say for all of TAPPS basketball, thank you. I'm sure that's very much appreciated.
Appreciate it. And we'll tell where you're going. Tell where you're going to go this week.
Oh, so I will be at the TJC, that is Tyler Junior College, annual Wagstaff tournament on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Brook Hill and All Saints Episcopal are playing in that tournament. I really want to see how Brook Hill and All Saints both are, especially Brook Hill. They started off 17-2, but as we looked at their schedule, there's not a lot of prominent opponents that they played. And I really want to see if they're the real deal. They're going to play some decent competition here, and I'm very excited to see how they turn out. We will also, me and a couple of buddies will also be going to Grace Community, where they play at Bishop Gorman. Bishop Gorman has a great tradition, and it will be very interesting to see if they can beat Grace again. They are a division below Grace. They've already beaten Grace once this year. It was a pretty big upset. We'll see if they can do it again. So I'm really excited to go and cover East Texas private school basketball to kind of round out pretty much the coverage, because, you know, I mean, DFW basketball gets covered a ton because there's a lot of media, but East Texas can fall under the radar. But I'm excited to go watch all of those teams. But with that being said, that's actually all the information we have. I mean, Walker, is there any final thoughts you want to give on the award show and how all of that is coming to fruition in the next week or so?
Yeah. But I also want to shout out my Eagle basketball. They're like 11-5 right now. So
Okay.
shout out to those guys. I might go watch a game or something. I don't know. Anyways, but back to the point at hand. Oh, yes. Ryan.
I was gonna say, me and Walker might be at the Lake Country tournament in Fort Worth. So if you're gonna be playing in that, come say hi to us. Or if you're a Lake Country football player, I know they all showed up last year just to watch guys play. So if you're a Lake Country football player and you want to talk to me and Walker, we'll be at we should. That's a quote. Don't quote me on that. We should be there for maybe a couple of games, if not the most of the tournament.
Yep. But for award show wise, I mean, I kind of already explained it in the beginning, but switching it up a little bit, adding more awards. Semifinalists should come out soon. If you haven't, send in your stats, especially for the schools that don't put their stats on Max Preps. We're something in the works where you don't even have to worry about Max Preps next year. That's something in the works. But yeah, promote it, love it. If anyone wants to sponsor, hit me up. I already have a lot of people interested, and I really appreciate that. And if I haven't responded back to you, I will. It's just Christmas time, so we're trying to actually spend time with family and not worry about this too much. But yeah, Merry Christmas, guys. I appreciate everything. I with high school football officially done with last week, I think I went to 32 games this year in total, and I at least covered at least 20 something. So I mean, it's been always a wild ride. I think I got like 90 something now in the past 3 years. So I've done a lot of games. It's a lot of fun. I wouldn't trade in the world for anything else in the world. So I love the community we're building, and I'm excited for the future.
It's a beautiful thing. Walker, before we go, I'm going to put you on the spot. What is your favorite song off of Nectar?
Nectar. I really like, I'm gonna make sure it's I want to think it's called Afterthought.
Afterthought's good.
I want to Afterthought.
I'm more of I think Like You Do might be the best song on there. It's Sad Boy Season.
Oh,
But-
bro, Sad Boy Season. Oh, that's a great song. I ain't gonna lie.
In full effect. Ryan, have you listened to Nectar? You want to weigh in on the discussion?
I have not. I actually heard
Me
it on a
too.
podcast the other day that it's a really awesome album, but I need to go listen to it.
Oh yeah, here's your question of the day. For any basketball, baseball, football, pre-game song, what's your go-to song? Let us know down below.
I would
They
love
were-
to hear it.
They were playing some jams at the roundup today. It was during a break, and I would be like jam my head as I'd be go take a picture of the scoreboard. I'd be like, no, so I know I just embarrassed myself, but there you go. That's that for everybody else wondering.
But with all that being said, I have been 1/3 of your hosting crew, Wes Tolleson. Walker Lott and Ryan Schroeder have, as always, excellently been themselves. We will see you in the next episode with the semifinalists for the Texas Private School Podcast second annual award show. See you later.